Regina Darrell was overjoyed with her second pregnancy, eagerly awaiting the arrival of their new addition. But when complications emerged, she was whisked away to the operating room, fighting to save both her and the baby. As hope dwindled, her husband's actions took everyone by surprise. Despite the daunting challenges, her husband's act was truly remarkable. Eric and Regina couldn't contain their excitement upon discovering they were expecting their second child. Their journey to parenthood had been a roller coaster of emotions and prayers. Their son, John, had been eagerly anticipating a baby brother. Although they could easily find out the gender during the ultrasound, Regina decided to keep it a surprise. The doctor discreetly noted the result, handing it over to Regina's friend, who organized an intimate gathering for their loved ones. Amidst snacks and a celebratory cake, the moment of revelation arrived, as purple and pink balloons filled the air. Announcing a baby girl, Eric couldn't hold back his tears. Holding his wife and son close, he realized that his long-held dream was finally coming true. Witnessing the overwhelming joy of a father awaiting his daughter's arrival was truly heartwarming. Being a hardcore New York Yankees fan, he enthusiastically exclaimed, "I'm gonna school her in baseball too." This elicited laughter from everyone present. Eric and Regina crossed paths during their college years. Eric's batting skills, which earned him the regional championship at 16, secured him a place at a prestigious university. Despite a shoulder injury crushing his dreams of going pro, he continued to play for the university team. He often fondly recalled his peak athletic moment, which he claimed occurred during a campus practice. It was there that Eric first laid eyes on Regina, a captivating presence he had never encountered before. After hitting a ball that soared into the sky, he spotted her, accompanied by a friend. "That hit brought me straight to you," Eric declared to Regina during their wedding vows, earning smiles from their assembled guests. Fast forward a year, Regina's graduation was a mix of simple elegance. Eric, once the slugger, now crunched numbers as he dove into engineering, yet his love for baseball never waned. John's arrival filled them with immense joy. At 3, he was already swinging like a pro next to his dad. Eric and Regina hadn't expected their son to inherit his father's athletic prowess, but they enjoyed tossing balls in the yard and catching Yankees games together. They'd huddle close to Regina, eagerly awaiting their daughter's kicks. But beneath the surface of apparent bliss, an unexpected turn lurked, ready to alter their destiny. With the baby's arrival looming, Eric and Regina went on a shopping spree, stocking up on all the essentials for their little one's comfort. From a cozy crib to vibrant onesies, toys, and enough diapers to last a lifetime, their nursery was ready. The due date was just 9 days away. Regina remained composed, relying on her past experience to guide her through. However, as the final week approached, an unexpected twist unfolded. Regina woke to a slight contraction, but she and Eric didn't think much of it as they headed to the hospital, aiming for a smooth delivery. Yet, during the checkup, the contractions intensified and her water broke. Suddenly, things took a turn for the worse as Regina felt dizzy and nauseous, her breakfast threatening to make a reappearance. This wasn't part of her first childbirth experience, but she brushed it off, hoping it was just a minor hiccup. Who could predict what would happen next? Regina's daughter had arrived sooner than expected, catching everyone off guard. But it wasn't long before Regina herself collapsed before the doctor's eyes. Eric was petrified. Seeing his wife like this was like nothing he'd ever experienced. No amount of focus, not even a baseball player's, could have prepared him. What's happening? What's wrong with her? Eric's questions echoed in the room, but there were no answers amidst the chaos. Regina's heartbeat slowed, her blood pressure plummeted. She turned an alarming shade of blue, struggling for breath as medical staff rushed to understand the situation. Soon she lay on the bed, wires and monitors connected to her, monitoring both her and the unborn child's well-being. Yet, distressingly, the baby's vital signs began to falter too. Eric felt a chill course through him, a sense of dread settling in. He stood frozen, helpless, as the medical team sprang into action, realizing the urgency of the situation. Regina had suffered an amniotic fluid embolism, a rare allergic reaction causing her heart and lungs to fail. Rushed to a different wing of the maternity unit for surgery, Eric was barred from entering by vigilant nurses. Despite his pleas to be with his wife and child, the gravity of the situation was made clear. The doctors needed absolute focus, warning of the possibility that Regina might not make it through. The weight of those words crashed down on Eric, a heavy burden he carried as he paced the sterile hallway, fists clenched, wanting to unleash his anguish on the unforgiving walls. Instead, he sank to his knees, pressing his forehead against the wall, silently willing strength into his trembling form. Onlookers couldn't decipher if he was praying or simply grasping for hope. Yet, the air was thick with dread. Eric knew he needed to steel himself, for he was on the brink of enduring one of life's harshest blows. In the operating room, Regina's condition spiraled downward despite the medical team's frantic efforts. At 11:20 a.m., she was declared deceased. Though the atmosphere was heavy with sorrow, there was no time for grief. The team rallied to save the baby. Meanwhile, Eric paced outside, consumed by anguish. Months of anticipation for their baby's arrival, envisioning the joys of family life and the precious face they'd soon behold, now hung in the balance. They hadn't even settled on a name yet. They planned to lay eyes on their newborn daughter before deciding. Now, Eric found himself alone, forced to bid farewell to the woman he'd crossed paths with 10 years ago at a baseball game. Fear and helplessness gripped him. He'd never faced such a trial, caught off guard by the enormity of it all. Nonetheless, he fought to maintain composure. His daughter still battled, and he clung to the slimmest hope of a turnaround. But he couldn't surrender his wife without a fight. Eric stepped up, confronting the challenge in his own way. Dropping to one knee, he posed the most agonizingly honest question of his life. I may not have the strength for this, perhaps it's too much to ask. But maybe there's a greater purpose, a grand design behind it all. That's what I'll choose to believe. All I plead for is one last embrace with my wife, Eric uttered from the hallway floor. He was in a dire situation. Rising to his feet, he dialed up his family and friends, urging them to rush to the maternity ward. With hands intertwined, they gathered in the waiting room, their hopes and prayers echoing for Regina and the baby. Their appeals rippled through social media, drawing support from strangers who joined in the collective wish for a miracle. After heartfelt prayers, they huddled together, bracing for any glimmer of hope. Meanwhile, Regina remained in the operating room, doctors desperately fighting for her and the baby's life. Thankfully, the child's medical team emerged victorious, their efforts ensuring the baby's cries echoed in the room, signaling her safe arrival. Though separated from her mother, she had entered the world, ready to thrive. Amidst tears and laughter, Eric cradled his newborn daughter, a mix of emotions flooding over him on this unforgettable day. It was an overwhelming mix of emotions, both uplifting and unsettling. He'd heard tales of these strange occurrences that play tricks on the mind and senses, but experiencing it firsthand was an entirely different story. In those fleeting moments when he laid eyes on her, he knew exactly what to call her: Sarah. That name felt right. Despite finding solace in Sarah's presence, the looming threat of losing his wife cast a shadow over his joy. But fate smiled upon the former athlete's optimism. Regina, as per the doctor's update, showed signs of life after the latest resuscitation attempt. Though her pulse remained weak, she was breathing once more. The cause remained a mystery, yet the doctors vowed to stabilize her no matter what. Relief flooded through Eric as he embraced his loved ones. With those words, it felt as though a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. Regina was transferred to the ICU, where medical professionals spared no effort in ensuring her continued breathing. However, her vital signs began to plummet once more. Regina's brother, a surgeon, rushed to the hospital and requested access to her medical records. He knew it was risky, but he discovered that his sister was indeed having a heart attack. Returning to the waiting room, he delivered the grim news to the anxious family. Eric, spurred into action, glanced at his newborn daughter before deciding to visit his wife in the ICU. Amidst the flurry of medical activity, Eric approached Regina, holding her hand. "I'll always be here for you. Sarah is safe with me. She's a beauty. Please, keep fighting." Despite Eric's optimism, Regina's condition showed no signs of improvement. Despite the 2 blood transfusions, the situation remained dire. Her heart faltered, blood flow dwindling with each beat. Eventually, her lungs faltered, forcing her reliance on mechanical breath. Regina lay motionless, unconscious. At any moment, she could have slipped away, until a sharp-eyed doctor spotted an overlooked detail: an organ mistakenly lacerated, quietly bleeding. With a swift decision, she was rushed to another hospital, one equipped with the perfect remedy, an extracorporeal membrane oxygenation machine. With the treatments, Regina's heart and lungs were coming back online, and the doctors gradually eased her sedation to gauge her nervous system's response. Eric re-entered the room just as Regina stirred, her eyes meeting his. "Hey there, sweetheart," he greeted, clasping her hand. Despite her bewilderment, Regina managed a smile. The doctors hadn't expected such a rapid turnaround after her ordeal. It wasn't just her brain. Her nervous system seemed to be bouncing back stronger than ever. In that moment, Eric saw a glimmer of hope for Regina's permanent recovery. While the doctors prepared her for the experimental surgery ahead, they warned Regina that she would soon be under anesthesia. Eric hurried in with Sarah, carefully placing their newborn in Regina's arms, allowing her to feel her daughter's touch for the first time. "Honey, this is Sarah," Eric whispered, his voice quivering with emotion. "She's here, safe and perfect. We'll be by your side when you wake up." Despite her weakness, Regina experienced a profound shift as she gazed upon and embraced her daughter. The sight and feel of her daughter's presence stirred a primal resolve in Regina, propelling her into a fierce fight for survival. As she slipped into unconsciousness under the anesthesia's grip, Regina entrusted Eric with the sole watch over Sarah, while she faced an uncertain fate. Oblivious to his mother's ordeal, John stayed with his grandparents, unaware of the harrowing trial unfolding. It was a test of faith and resilience, unlike any Eric or his family had ever faced. Finally, the surgery drew to a close, and against all odds, Regina's condition stabilized, leaving the medical team exhausted and puzzled. It's astounding how a woman's body can navigate the brink of death and then embrace the miracle of life. Eric's tears flowed freely, a mix of relief and awe. His hands shook as he dialed his parents' number, eager to share the incredible news. Soon, they'd be heading to the maternity ward to meet Sarah, accompanied by her brother. Just 24 hours later, Regina's breathing steadied as the ventilator was removed. With hearts pounding, Eric, John, and little Sarah finally reunited with her. Regina had clearly endured a harrowing journey, her memories fragmented. Yet, despite her exhaustion and clouded thoughts, she yearned to hold her daughter once more. With gentle hands, Eric settled the baby on her mother's lap. Tears brimmed in Regina's eyes as Sarah gazed into her mother's eyes for the very first time. Eric joined his wife, silently offering gratitude to the heavens. If this tale touched your heart, please show your support with a like, and don't miss the next heartfelt video popping up on your screen. Wishing you a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.